Today we're going to talk about the decline of Cracker Barrel from my perspective as a former corporate trainer. They've just made a quick revision and said, okay, we're going to bring back the old logo. We're going to dive into this, and I'm going to show you where this company has really been going for the last couple of years and what their focus has been.
Let's talk about the 5 pillars of change for Cracker Barrel.
I'm going to take these glasses off so I can come back to reality. Let me translate for you what these pillars of change actually are. There's been plenty of notice online, and I've heard locally here from a long-time employee that they're basically just reheating prefab groceries. When you start using commissary food, I'll just explain what that means. Commissary food means it's just good enough not to send back. It's not handcrafted, scratch-made food. The frozen biscuits, they're actually making the biscuits on site, but for some strange reason, to save on time and labor, they're taking them out, these fresh-baked biscuits at night, and putting them in the freezer and then warming them up for breakfast the next morning, Monday through Friday. The next pillar is they're spending a ton of money rebranding a bulletproof concept. Cracker Barrel's been around for a long time, and they've done a great job. And why they're focusing on here's how it looks instead of here's how it tastes. Does that make? So this progress of having all this prefab food brought in, I can verify there's one tilt steam jacketed kettle left in the back, and they've doubled their oven capacity. So I know they're reheating, pinto beans and stuff like that. I think the only thing that they're still using that kettle for is like gravy, chicken and dumplings, and a few other things. But everything else just gets thrown in the oven and reheated or put in the microwave. I've seen clips online where there's individual meatloaves that they're just throwing in the microwave. That is not Cracker Barrel whatsoever. Honestly, back in the day, and this, baking the bacon off and everything ahead of time, those were almost fireable offenses back then. This is nothing of what it should be. Here's where it gets good, okay? The fact that Cracker Barrel bought a biscuit company you may not have heard of, but you might have one in your own town. It's called Maple Street Biscuits. Or Maple Street Biscuit Company. They put a lot of energy into this while they're rebranding Cracker Barrel. And the irony that I'm going to unfold here is beyond belief. They've only added a couple of units in the last 5 years to Cracker Barrel, where moreover, back in 2019, when they purchased Maple Street Biscuit Company for $36 million in cash, they've added 34 locations. And this is a bougie biscuit place. You may have one in your own town. We'll do a dive into it. But, I think they call it like the 5 and dime biscuit. That's $12.99. It gets better. Let's go take a look. Before we get to the biscuit place, I just want to read this quote. This is in National Restaurant News. The CEO's quote is saying, "We believe there's a large opportunity to improve the way we price both across the menu and across the doors to hit the sweet spot where pricing at a store is optimized based on the consumer willingness to pay competitor prices and store operating costs." And then this looking down her nose statement right here, in quotes, "We understand the lower end consumer is challenged." Let's take a look at the world's busiest website. As you scroll down this, like every time you move your cursor, something here, so that moves. You scroll over this and it moves and that moves. Oh gosh, here we go. Oh, there, look here. Breakfast should be fresh, flavorful, and fun. You scroll up, ooh, look. The funny thing is biscuits on repeat. Whee! Look at all the shiny objects. They're actually trolling themselves in this. There's references to Wake Up to Wow. Here, let's go back up to the top. There's a quote here. Tired of having a boring breakfast and a mundane morning? You don't have to now because this can be wow or whatever. And they're trolling themselves with their own side hustle business. This is crazy talk. And that's what these stores, they want them to look like. These are the people that are running Cracker Barrel. Now, here's your Maple Street Biscuit Company. Now, bear in mind, these are the same people that are selling you reheated frozen biscuits on a Monday or Tuesday, Friday morning, are selling you bougie biscuits, the 5 and dime. It's a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit with either sausage or shiitake mushroom gravy. I can't even make this up. Squawking Goat. I've heard the food's delicious. It's just ironic that this bougie biscuit shop is a side hustle to Cracker Barrel. What else I got? Breakfast tacos. 2 for $4.50 for a taco? Good Lord. Coffee's like $3, $4, $5, $6. Where we at? You can get a caramel mocha for $5.29. That's why they don't want you in Cracker Barrel. They want you in here. All right, one last thing to show you how this woman likes to talk down her nose. At the end of a 45-minute conference call, somebody asked about the Maple Street Biscuit, and she said, and I quote, "We knew somebody was going to ask us this." And you scroll down here a little farther. She said, "Cracker Barrel is a great concept and great company." That's really cold. However, the brand has just lost some of its shine. Most of Wall Street's pretty dumb. It's Wednesday morning. The stock is up $4.19 a share, or 7%. Just on the press release of we're switching the logo back. The logo's a drop of the bucket, okay? The largest single individual owner of Cracker Barrel stock has been quite vocal. October 8th of last year, this guy's got skin in the game. He's got 2 million shares and owns about 9.3% of the company. He tried to get a seat on the board to try and get things moving in the right direction and use some common sense. And he's been very critical of the board. Here's a quote. "Cracker Barrel poor performance is a direct result of board and management failures." Okay. He also went on to add, "We have value-focused." He says, "We value focused management and focused companies. This board and its upper management are not focused as they should be, or what I witnessed when I was younger, watching Dan Evans, Don Turner, Mike Atkins, and the rest of them run this company like it's supposed to be. Quality first. For instance, they say, okay, we need to put a steak on the menu. What they do? They put a 12-ounce ribeye, USDA prime. Okay, the best of the best. There's one steak, just do it right." He also went on to say, "The single greatest way for Cracker Barrel to create value is by improving operations." I like this guy. I do. He's got it right. There's nothing in this whole letter. You can go, it's called enhancecrackerbarrel.com. And you can see his whole letter. And again, this is on October 8th of 2024. You can read his whole letter to the board. And he's begging for some common sense change. Here we go. Another quote from his letter. "The stores must provide a warm, caring, hospitable environment with authentic country cooking." What the hell's wrong with this? And again, he has to get a seat on the board, and that little gang of folks decided, no, we don't want your input here. Instead of 20 items, the company has to be simple but true to its brand's heritage. I like this guy. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up and then go back to fixing chainsaws is what I do best. If you work at Cracker Barrel, I am super sorry about what you're going through right now. I know the parking lots are sparse. I've seen pictures. The business is down, and everybody's in a tizzy about this. But it's the direction of the board. It's the direction of upper management that's driving this into the ground. I mentioned on Monday's video, if you just greet somebody with a smile when they come in the door, take their order properly, cook them some nice, hot, fresh food, thank them for their business on the way out the door, you'll do well. All of this other glitz and glamour you know, oh, you have to have a great environment to have food. You know, I'm okay with the environment. You know, it's Americana. It's great. You know, but that's been the biggest complaint. You know, you look at all these videos like, we haven't been back to Cracker Barrel. We haven't been back to Cracker Barrel. Well, that's what happens when you cut corners. I promise you, back in the day, anytime there was ever a quality question, there was a district manager coming that way, you know, or on a local level, the manager was going directly to the employee that didn't make it right. You know, I used to go around in between restaurant openings and do troubleshooting and retraining when they had a big turnover. The commitment to making sure that the food is consistent and good every time has left the vision of Cracker Barrel. They're more concerned about aesthetics and bougie side hustle biscuit companies. All right, I'm done ranting. That was unhinged enough. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a like and comment in the bottom and see what you think. Have a great day.